One photograph, taken deep in the Brazilian Amazon in 2019, shows a research camp that was completely abandoned. The tents were left standing. The equipment was still running. A metal cup of coffee was still warm. The 3 researchers who had set up that camp were never found. Officials listed the case as unresolved, likely animal encounter. But which animal was responsible? And why did it happen so quickly that nobody had time to grab a radio? Welcome back to Reality Vault. If you're new here, this is the channel where we explore mysteries that the rest of the internet often overlooks. Real cases, real science, and theories that still don't add up. Today, we're heading into the most dangerous ecosystem on Earth, a place where something can kill you in less time than it takes to read this sentence. Before we go any further, hit that subscribe button, because what we uncover in the next 20 minutes is going to change how you think about the friendly jungle documentaries you've seen before. The Amazon covers more than 5.5 million square kilometers and stretches across 9 countries. Scientists still believe there are thousands of species inside it that have never been formally documented. That means somewhere in that vast green ocean, there could be creatures more dangerous than anything currently described in textbooks. This is not speculation. It is a fact acknowledged by biologists at institutions such as the Smithsonian and the Instituto Nacional de Pesquisas de Amazonia. The unexplored gaps are real. What lives in those gaps is where the mystery begins. To understand how quickly the Amazon can become deadly, we are going to follow 3 people. Their stories are dramatized for this video, but every creature and every fact we discuss is real, documented, and verifiable. First, meet Rachel Simmons. She is a 34-year-old wildlife biologist from Portland, Oregon, who has spent the last 6 years studying amphibian toxins. Second, meet Diego Fontana. He is a 45-year-old former Amazon River guide from Manaus, Brazil, who has spent more than 2 decades navigating tributaries that many maps do not even label. Third, meet Naomi Cole. She is a 27-year-old investigative journalist from Tampa, Florida, who became interested in this story after reading about the abandoned research camp. They come from 3 different backgrounds. They have 3 different reasons for entering the jungle, but they share one question: what actually killed the people the Amazon has claimed, and how fast did it happen? Let's begin with the creature most people already fear, because it deserves that fear more than almost anything else on the planet. Rachel's research repeatedly brings her back to one frog. It is barely 2 inches long. Its skin is a bright yellow color that looks almost artificial, like something from a cartoon. It is called the golden poison frog. It is widely considered the most toxic animal on Earth by body weight. The science is simple. The frog's skin produces a toxin called batrachotoxin. This toxin blocks nerve signals from reaching your muscles, including your heart. In the wild, a single golden poison frog carries enough toxin on its skin to kill approximately 10 to 20 adult humans, or about 2 African bull elephants. A single scratch, if the toxin is absorbed through the skin, can be fatal within minutes when the dose is high enough. There is no known antidote, but the mystery becomes even stranger. Indigenous groups in Colombia have used this frog's toxin for centuries to coat the tips of blowgun darts for hunting. That is actually where the species gets its common name, the poison dart frog. However, when the same frog is raised in captivity and kept away from its natural diet of specific Amazonian ants and beetles, it loses almost all of its toxicity. Scientists still do not fully understand every chemical pathway involved in that transformation. This is not a theory. It is an acknowledged open question in toxicology research today. Now picture Rachel crouched in the leaf litter. She has a camera in one hand and tweezers in the other. She is photographing one of these frogs for a database. One wrong move or one open cut on her hand could turn her research trip into a medical emergency in a place that may be 6 hours by boat from the nearest clinic. That is the reality of Amazon fieldwork. It is not the jungle portrayed in movies. It is calculated risk every single day. While Rachel studies creatures that are small and silent, Diego has spent his career understanding those that are large and fast. Diego's most unsettling story from 20 years of guiding involves the water, not the trees. Most tourists worry about piranhas. Piranhas are real, and they can strip flesh in a feeding frenzy. However, there is a myth that needs to be corrected. Piranhas rarely attack healthy humans. Most species are actually scavengers that avoid people entirely. The far more dangerous creature living in the same water is one that almost nobody asks about, the electric eel. An electric eel is not technically an eel at all. It is actually a knife fish. However, it earns its name honestly. It can generate a shock of up to 600 volts, which is more than 5 times the voltage of a standard American wall outlet. A single shock probably will not kill a healthy adult on land. The terrifying part is that an electric eel can deliver several shocks in rapid succession. If a person is in the water, becomes disoriented and cannot move after repeated shocks, drowning becomes the real cause of death rather than the electricity itself. In 2016, biologists studying eels in Vint, French Guiana, documented a rarer species that can leap partially out of the water to shock a target directly. Scientists had theorized about this behavior for more than a century before finally capturing it on camera. Diego says that the water in some tributaries can appear completely calm and completely safe right up until it is not. That unpredictability is what separates a guide with 2 decades of experience from a tourist who has been in the country for only 2 days. Here is a fact that most people have never heard, and it connects directly to the case that started this video, the abandoned research camp. Investigators who reviewed the case noticed something unusual. The site showed no blood, no signs of a struggle, and no clear predator tracks. That detail alone eliminated several early theories, including a jaguar attack, because jaguar encounters usually leave unmistakable physical evidence. So what could remove 3 trained adults from a camp so quickly that nobody managed to grab a radio and leave almost no trace? At this point, we have to be careful and honest. Everything from here forward is theory, not fact. One working theory among some researchers is a rapid, coordinated insect encounter. Specifically, it may have involved a large colony of Maricopa or army ants whose swarms can move through a camp within minutes and force an evacuation before communication is even possible. Another, much more speculative theory, one without solid evidence but frequently discussed in online forums, involves flash flooding caused by a sudden tributary surge. Parts of the Amazon can experience water level changes so quickly that a dry campsite can become submerged within an hour. Officially, the case remains unsolved. We want to be clear that we are not claiming to know what happened. We are simply presenting the leading theories alongside what has actually been confirmed. Naomi has spent the last year trying to gain access to the original case file. She says that government agencies in the region have been slow to release full documentation, which has only fueled public speculation. That is part of the reason this story has not faded away. The less information that becomes available, the more room there is for theories to grow. Now let's return to something we can verify with complete confidence, because it may be the single most efficient killer in the entire Amazon: the bullet ant. The bullet ant is named for a sting that victims compare to being shot.